Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 4 of the Pantheon Podcast. I'm going to be the host this week. My name is AlphaJackal, and I'm joined by some lovely people today, including production for this week, Dark Eye 3. How are you doing?
I'm not bad, thank you. Not bad. As your RAM is apparently dead, I'm going to be production this week. I never realised how much effort goes into it until today.
I'm on a laptop right now, so my mic quality might not be as good as it was the past weeks. But next week, normal service will resume. But we're also joined by Ozboz. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I haven't talked in a while, have we? So it's been a bit. So hopefully we get a bit of chatting done today about Smite.
Can't wait for it to start. Also joined by Sushi. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I was really salty that I missed last week because I was here like 5 minutes after you guys went online. So I'm really happy to be joining you guys this week.
And last but certainly not least, we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend. It is Thom F. Badinger. How are you doing, sir?
Doing fair to decent, man. I'm doing pretty all right. It's a lovely afternoon here in Atlanta, so things are looking up.
For those of you out there who don't know, about a month ago, F. tweeted out that he would like to see more podcast shows come out in the Smite community, and that inspired us to create this very podcast. So a lot to him for helping us start this up.
Awesome.
And on this week's show, we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to start off with the introductions. So. After what is it exactly that you do at Hi-Rez and anything outside?
This is where he questions his job.
Nice.
Well, if you look at my business card, it says esports man. And I think that's a pretty accurate representation. I don't have my wallet, otherwise I'd just show you. I think it's a pretty accurate representation of sort of what I bring to the table. My main jam is pretty much commentary. So you might be familiar with my face or my voice if you listened or watched any of the Smite Pro League games that happened over the course of 2015. And then in addition to that, I'm also the face of like the top 5 plays and all the other supplementary videos that we put out. And that's really where like the rest of my job description comes from. It's content creation. Whether I'm making a mini series or a promo video, that's really where my sort of stuff shines. And then like all the members of the esports team, we generally have input on most of, not all of, the decisions regarding the league. So mainly commentary, a little bit of content creation, and some league operations riffraff. So a little bit of everything.
Okay, I believe everybody else knows who Sushi is, one of the people who was part of the So You Think You Can cast. Unfortunately, didn't make it to the second round. What was an absolute travesty in every sense of the word, and she's not on cam anymore.
She appears to have... I don't know. There she is. She appears.
I'm sorry.
God.
It's like Beetlejuice. You say her name enough, she then randomly appears.
Have you noticed? The show's always professional, and then Sushi comes on and just ruins professionalism of the show. Yep. Every time.
That's me. My cast also unprofessional, so that's how I roll.
Right, so there wasn't any patch notes this week, obviously, but we did get hit with a patch on Tuesday, which nerfed a couple of items, buffed the much maligned item of Pestilence, and gave a few nerfs and buffs to certain gods. So what do we think of the patch, and how do we think this has been implemented into the meta?
There was a Giannis nerf?
Wait, what?
Nerf.
Hey, that's a huge nerf. If you take a look, now everybody always focuses on Giannis's portals, as you should, but the threshold, if you take a look at any of the top 5 plays that include Giannis just destroying people, or even the plays that don't make it there, it's all, let me walk over a threshold and give myself 20 million magical power, because that's what it does. So Ultimate probably needs to be looked at. You heard it here, but the threshold nerf will bring his damage down a lot, which is, you got to do one thing, right? You can't do a bazillion. Yeah, you can't be Hebo and Isis. You got to pick one, right? Like,
I know last week Hindu had a brilliant suggestion, and that was make it so that enemies could walk through portals while taking a little bit of damage. I love that suggestion. It's amazing.
I've heard that so many times from Hindu.
Yeah. It's a nice suggestion.
It's not a horrible suggestion.
It would make for some interesting plays in my eyes.
Yeah, it would be very interesting.
You drop ship in the enemy base and they drop ship on you.
Nice.
You just ult across the map, and then suddenly 2 teams come running from either end, meet in the middle.
But one team's half dead already.
Yeah.
That's good. that would take a lot of like coding work to actually put through as well. That'd be a few all-nighters for the coding team there to do that. You know.
Give them something to do.
All right.
The god that was recently released into ranked on that Tuesday night was Sol.
Wait, Sol's in rank now? Oh
Yeah.
crap, she
Sol.
is. I'm so glad I'm avoiding that mode.
Sol is in rank that has been the bane of everyone's dreams. Even Omega tweeted out saying she shouldn't be allowed in the regionals because she hasn't even been played in the SPL, and she is broken as all hell. A lot of that comes down to the damage she can do with her Stellar Burst, I think it is, her second ability. Do we feel like this ability's strong, like very strong, and needs nerfing, or do we feel like she should be hit somewhere else, especially in the tower damage that she can output?
I don't like her tower damage. The 2 is Absorbent Poke. But it sort of makes me think of Opwash in the sense that when Opwash came out, everybody's response was sort of like, even if I sit on my tower, I get smacked. What do I do? This god is broken. And people learn how to deal with it. I'm not saying Sol is completely in a perfect state, but I think that there's a little bit of play around that people have to learn.
I think in terms of Sol, all of her other abilities now they kind of feel at the right spot. The thing which feels too strong for me is just how much damage she can put out on her 2. Stellar Burst just does so much damage because it goes out and then back in. And I know it used to proc on hit effects twice, and as long as it wasn't a cooldown, they fixed that. It only procs on the first hit, but it still does an obscene amount of damage. Especially like I was in a solo lane against the Sol as Chaac, and I had some magical protection, and she hit me with her 2. I went from full health to 1/4 health at level 2. It's like, hold on a second, nothing should be able to do that much damage to a Chaac at this stage.
Well, a lot of it was probably also minion damage.
Yeah, I think you might have been over-exaggerating the
I think you may have taken a tower shot in there as well.
It
Who
was
knows?
painful, man. It was
He might have got
ridiculous.
5-man rotation squeezed in as well.
5-man rotation.
Surprise 5-man rotation he wasn't even aware of, and then boom, he
Yeah,
almost
they
died.
turned up and disappeared before I even realised
think-
what happened.
Yeah.
I think with Sol is that her 2 is basically like an auto attack that can expand, and if you put a Polynomicon on top of it,
And a Soul
and
Reaver.
possibly a Soul Reaver, then that ability will do obviously a lot of damage, but then that's part of her main kit really. That 2 is just that extra damage that she has. Her 1, you don't really use it for damage, it's more sustainability and also to get your passive up as well. But her 3 is kind of like an escape, but you can use it to engage, and that's about it. So I think that maybe nerfing the damage just a tiny bit, but other than that, I think she's sitting at a comfortable spot at the moment.
I love
She
the third
is.
ability out of Soul. I think it's really fun. I think it's balanced pretty well where you can be aggressive or defensive with it. It's like Fatalis in a ball or like a moving Aegis. I like the way that ability works a lot.
Just makes Ares players a nightmare. Because the second you get pulled in, you're just like, oh, I'm floating away now and you can't damage me. Have fun, I don't need to buy beats.
What's also amazing is she stuns the Ares when he comes down if she times it right.
Well, you can actually proc your 3 if you know that the Ares blinks in. If you like proc your 3 beforehand, it acts as an Aegis. So yeah, that'd be pretty decent for you. Well, yeah. What else is there?
I have a feeling that she's gonna be banned in ranked for quite a while.
Yeah.
A few times she's gonna be let through, with people wanting to experiment in the higher echelons of ranked. And people are going to do well with her at first, but then people start going to formulating ideas. The only issue is, our ideas can be formulated in time for the super regionals to a point where Sol may not be top pick, top ban.
It depends. It depends if teams have been scrimming with her. I think teams have been like practicing with her and scrimming, then they probably formulate some sort of composition. But yeah, it comes to the fact that do they have time for it? Like, or do you want to stick to something that you're comfortable with, or try something new?
And to that extent, I see Allied playing this character. I see Snoopy playing this character. These are the people that tend to experiment a little bit more. I think Zapman is hit or miss. Zapman will embrace new characters, but doesn't always like jump straight to them like Allied does or whatnot. And then Barracuda will generally like stick to the same old stuff. On the European side of things, I think we can look towards Funball maybe trying this character. I think we can look at maybe Reels trying this character, and that's a big old maybe. Just like Zapman, Reels isn't afraid to embrace new stuff, but generally, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Reels is for the furthest thing from being broke for a European hunter. So.
Yeah, he really isn't. He's our proud as he's our European Zapman, and we're really proud of him for that.
Exactly, and I mean these days you might call Zapman the North American Reels if you're
Yes.
the case. So.
Yes, we should go for that.
I like that idea.
So I don't know. I think that Soul is stupid strong. She's definitely strong. It's just a matter of who's going to play her. Maybe even the solo lane.
And it may be no one.
Yeah.
I think people will try her.
Someone's
I think
gonna
we
pick
could.
her.
Yeah, I think we could expect to see like the Cyclone Spins and the Zalias.
Oh god.
Oh, Cyclospin's gonna love playing this character. Like, he loves playing those carry roles, even though he's tried to transition away from it a bit and allow a bit more of the carry roles in the jungle. He's gonna love this character, and you saw the damage he could do with Alquang, another god in that sort of area, magical damage burst that can do a bit of auto attack as well. It's gonna be ridiculous to see if he gets it, what he can do.
It's always amazing to see like new character come out and then see the pros play them. It's just like so nice. Like I mean, I really enjoy watching those people play, like Cyclone Spin and stuff.
I think it's because they might try new things that you didn't possibly think of on the god.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh yeah, you can do that. I'll give it a go.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. That's always fun.
Yeah.
I just still remember the surprised winged blade rush that everybody did at Worlds. It's just like out of thin air from everyone else's point of view, but the British like, no, this is a good item. We buy it all the time. Whatever.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like Smite never sleeps, and so we have. I mean, the SPL ended not last week, but the week before. So we have like a 4 to 5 week spread until Super Regionals, and then we'll have another 4 to 5 week spread until Worlds. But teams are still practicing, teams are still scrimming, patches are coming out. You know, metas shift not just with patches, but with time and in response to other team strategies. So you'll still see this meta shift. We just like the viewers just don't get to see it, and then all of a sudden everybody's playing Odin mid with Seeker, and you're like, what the hell happened? But normally we get to connect the dots watching the season. Oh, Nemesis is being played because tanks are being played because Naja was being played. Got it, right? That might not be super accurate, but you get what I'm saying. Here, we miss the in-between steps, and we just go, why is Odin mid? What happened? You know what I mean? So it's always exciting to see these breaks in the lands that happen after the breaks, just because, like, so many things happen behind the scenes.
You have the Phantom mid that Zaros brought out, and was it the summer? Yeah, it was the summer.
Yeah.
It was like, how did they even think about dropping a Phantom mid? But
Zeros is the dude that played Jungle Vulcan, finally got moved to the mid lane and decided he wasn't done playing Thanatos. Like, come on, man.
Make up your mind.
Come on, man.
Yeah, the meta's made to be broken, man. Just keep breaking it.
Pretty much.
Right, let's move on to esports news then, and there's quite a bit to go through, starting with Lemire Badons, who unfortunately finished 7th and didn't qualify for Super Regionals. Their jungler, once again, LeFails, has left of his own accord. He didn't get kicked. He decided to leave himself.
Well, that's a change. Not for Fails, but for Mirrodins. They're just like, they've just been booting junglers left and right. I mean, I don't know if this team is together come relegations. I don't know what they look like. I think Fails worked out well for them, honestly. I liked watching him play. I don't know why that decision. Well, it was his decision, and I understand why that decision was made.
it's just sad to like see a team come onto the SPL and you have like high hopes for them as they're like a newcomer, the underdogs, and then they just don't perform. And it's just, I mean, it's kind of upsetting because it proves that the Smite professional scene is, like, how do you say it? The ones on the top are just so much better than the ones on the bottom.
Yeah, it's a big spread.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It is a big spread.
it's a big ask for like a new team, like especially if they come straight from challengers to compete at top level. And I think that they did all right. It's just that I don't think booting junglers and swapping the roster around is just not. It's just not helping. Like if you think about it, like even for the players who have stayed, it's just like their mentality must be like, all right, well, so we're gonna have to get someone else in now. And we have to go and build up that whole process of synergy, and it's all up in the air at the moment for Mimidians. So I don't know what they're gonna do now if they're gonna carry on for next season, but yeah, it's not looking good.
The question I had about Myrmidons in general was for LaFels to leave of his own accord instead of being kicked. It makes me wonder if there's any underlying issue in the team synergy itself, like if they've got some what's the word? Like they've got a couple issues within the team itself without having to worry about the jungler, and then a jungler comes in and goes, "I'm not kind of keen on this team interaction. I'm gonna jet, guys. Thanks for the opportunity." You know?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I haven't ever like watched the scrims, or I'm not super close with the guys, but they pop into my stream every now and then, and I talk to them, and they all seem just very excited and whatnot away from the game. So I don't think it's that. I honestly just think that Fails is better than the rest of the roster most of the time, but like in a vacuum. And I think that he feels that he could find a better team come season 2. That would be my, uninitiated, uninformed guess as to what the situation is. Just because that team works well when the dual lane's on and Jermaine and Dardas are doing their thing, it works out, right? And there's a lot of stars that need to align for the team to like achieve wins and look good. And Fails probably just decided that he wanted to go elsewhere. I haven't seen too many things to tell me that the team is infighting or anything of that nature. I think they're inexperienced. I think Myrmidons in general are inexperienced when it comes to high-level competition, and the quick fix of roster changes is the antithesis of how you get better as a unit. And so they're experiencing that firsthand, and Fails just doesn't want to be a part of it. That's what I would venture a guess to be.
Yeah. Makes sense. Also leaving a professional team is Flareboot. He has left Justice. He is leaving for health and educational reasons. Just unfortunately, he was doing good work with Justice. Admittedly, they weren't placing high in the SPL during any of the splits, but they were consistently there, and they were getting better as the year went on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They were adjusting. I mean, I feel like they adjusted well enough to when they started. They were just, I'm not gonna say bad because they still made SPL.
You can say bad.
We didn't see them.
You can say that.
I just want to be nice, okay? I'm not please. I just want to be nice and don't be like, yeah, they were bad.
So be it.
Sushi called Justice bad. You heard it here first.
To the Reddit, everyone. To the Reddit.
Quick.
Burn her.
Oh wow, you took it too far.
What do you do? She's a witch.
She's a witch. And what do we do
Hey,
with
I
witches?
have 2 cats. I mean, I could be considered a witch.
Okay, do you have a broomstick?
With this hair and cats, maybe.
It has just been Halloween as well.
Yeah, it has been. You never know.
I had an amazing thing to wear for last week's stream, like the Halloween stream, but I didn't make it in time.
You should have worn it for this show. You can go wear it now. We'll hold. Just don't change on camera because I don't want to get banned from Twitch. We can do that on
She
Hitbox.
doesn't take her top off. I think we're fine.
Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. I mean, we can do this. We can do that stuff on Hitbox. We just can't do it here.
There we go.
Hey,
Hello,
there we go.
hello.
I guess it's the belated Halloween-ish episode
Yay.
for Sushi.
As
I
you
don't
can see, I'm wearing a very spooky Halloween costume myself.
That is a terrifying. It's almost as terrifying as F dot in general, but.
Oh!
To be honest, I don't know what's worse, me or the fact that I'm wearing possibly the same shirt as AJ.
I think wearing the same shirt because, like, everybody knows what shirts I'm gonna wear. How dare you come in here and try to usurp me?
This was my last one. It's been at the bottom of the cupboard. I don't know where it's been.
I'm washing on right now, actually, as well. We're going on to better news.
Sidetracked.
Back to business.
We didn't even talk about like Justice completely, but it's
No,
okay.
we just mentioned that he left. We mentioned Justice, and then we went off on a tangent, as per usual for a podcast.
It's what you do. You do the podcast. Occasionally we talk about Smite. You know,
Occasionally.
occasionally.
The tangent eventually comes full circle and hits Smite every now
And then the host, in this case AJ, reels us all in and takes us to the next topic.
Yeah, the next topic is me, actually. I've actually joined a team myself, the Men of Aeron squad, who finished 9th in the upper bracket of the EU Challenger Cup. I've joined them as a coach, so congratulations to the Men of Aeron squad. I will be teaching them everything I know, which is not a lot.
If you wanted more proof that AJ can't play, he's now a coach and a caster, so there you go.
Wow.
It's a general thing, isn't it? If you can't play, you cast, and if you can't, I'm not going to finish that because that
Can't do, you teach.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh god.
I don't know what drugs you put in the drinks to make them to that conclusion, but yeah, not bad. How did they actually? Did you approach them or did they approach you?
They approached me, but we were sort of like, I knew that they were looking for a coach because they were talking about it for a while, and I sort of said I was interested, and we sort of said, well, do you want to? It was like, yeah, okay, might as well. It actually happened yesterday, and they had a one-game scrim, and I pointed out a couple of things to them as well there. It's quite nice. They did very well.
Nice.
I mean, with coaches, I think it's always. I mean, we've seen Paradigm do quite well with Darza and Lydia being the coaches.
Lydia's
Daisy, that's the one.
That was just the mid-laner for angry Pikachus.
Yeah, basically, I think that having that, you've got 5 people in a team, and having that outside view, looking at your matches high in the sky, like looking at them and saying, all right, guys, even though you're in the heat of the moment, this is what you could have done better. You know, this is what you could have done better, and then this is what we could have all done better. And I think that's, that general idea of someone overlooking is pretty good for a team to start synergizing properly.
Yeah, it's about having, like you said, the sort of unaffiliated view. When your solo laner says, jungle, you're not ganking enough, it means something a lot different than when your coach says, jungle, you're not ganking in a solo lane enough, right? Like, there's no sort of feeling coming into that. And also there's the oft overlooked side of coaching, which is just person management and dealing with that. Like, oh, is your jungler pissed off? Somebody's got to tell him to calm down, right? Is there an interpersonal issue? Somebody's got to fix that, right? And the whole Dr. Phil aspect is a pretty big part of coaching. If you ask any of the established coaches, that's a lot of what you do. Because I mean, what are you supposed to tell Zalia, right? Like you're not going to go to Zalia and be like, "This is how you should build." He's going to be like, "Nah, dude. I'm fucking Zalia. I'm gonna build however I want. I'm sorry, but like that's his not his attitude, but these are established professionals that have been playing for years, right? You can, I did the math and like this item will come up and be more valuable for you, and sure, okay, awesome, thank you for the tip. But in general, the pros know what they're doing, so a little bit of evaluation tool and person management is really what you're looking at. So.
I think it's to keep the composure as well. Like in games, especially high-level games, it can get quite heated and it can get quite, personal. Well, not personal, but emotional. And I think keeping people, like everyone, level-headed and focused on the game is probably the top thing a coach can do whilst you're in a game. Otherwise, out of a game, the coach is the best thing of being like a PR manager as well. And I think that's what Lydia's been really good at. She's been really good at like PR manager for Paradigm.
Lydia's not a coach. She's just a manager. So
yeah, well,
she
did do coaching, didn't she?
She coached other teams. She's never coached Paradigm. That's all Dazer.
Yeah.
If you guys want to like mention a good coach, Solana, he coached the Epsilon boys, and they went like almost undefeated in the SPL. So we should be giving him props as well.
I know who's a good coach too. Young Bay.
Young Bay.
I mean,
man.
yeah, Young Bay is like cuddling over there with the Epsilon boys, so he's a good coach.
I've got every podcast. I've got to make a shout out to Young Bay because
Oh.
hey, if I shout out enough, he'll come on the show. You know, you got to meet.
No, I'm
you gotta
seeing
meet
him
your
this
heroes.
Saturday. I'm
So
seeing
are
him
we
this
treating
Saturday.
Young Bay like Beetlejuice now? You say
Yeah,
his name enough
just
times,
say
he
his
will
name enough
eventually come.
times, he'll turn on the show. There you go.
Oh, God.
And we've also got, like, I guess, if we're talking good coaches, we've got to shout out Cap Coach.
Oh, yeah, and his team. We're going to talk about that in a bit, though.
Yep.
But first, November 7th is the start of the Latin American Regionals, and there was a bit of drama surrounding that. It was a fiasco where most of the pro players in that region got banned for some reasons or another. It was on the Reddit. I sort of overlooked it at the time, but I just don't know what happened there. Just randomly, only 3 players from the 30 or so that should be playing are left. It's just like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about it. LATAM, or rather Level Up, the people that run that had some sort of rule about X amount of reports, and they hit go, and everybody that had X amount of reports got temporarily banned. I mean, a lot of it also was blown out of proportion. These players were banned for like 3 days. So that sucks. That totally sucks. But I don't know. It wasn't Armageddon like Reddit made it seem for 3 years.
Almost all the pros getting nuked from orbit. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the Reddit made it sound like it was. So if it
Yeah,
wasn't,
like some people got banned for a while, and if you have like, you know, a bunch of reports, somebody should look at them manually, but who knows, right? But most of these players were banned for like a day or 3 days. And to that I say, like, that sucks. Nothing more, nothing less, right? Like, it's not ideal, but oh well. So, I don't know. It's not really my region.
But what else is not your region is going to be China. That's also coming up on November 20th. And similar to COG last year, we have 3 OMG teams. But they didn't place in the top seed. The top seed actually went to Kiaogu. I think is how you pronounce
I
that.
think it's
Kiaogu.
Kiaogu.
Yeah.
They placed first out of the qualifiers to get into these China regionals. So they're looking strong. They could potentially be the representative for China for the Smite World Championship. Those start on November 20th.
There we go.
Yeah, those are fun. China's a tough region to really follow. If you want to follow any of the other regions, you can find them on Twitch or whatnot. China doesn't have Twitch, so it's really hard to follow them. And a lot of times you have to look at it from a distance. And I really depend on Adonis for that. Adonis has some Chinese contacts that he'll usually come week by week and sort of say, all right, here's what happened in China. These teams are on top. And that's how we sort of keep tabs in the other regions, is or China specifically. Like I said, the other ones are a little more accessible. China is good luck, man. Like, there's 30 OMG teams, and then Knight is on the team that's not OMG. And Adonis is the one that really does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the Chinese stuff, because it's just hard to find.
I think when it comes to the worlds, China is going to be an unexpected team. I think no one's going to know what to quite expect from them. Like EU, you have a chance to see it all the time. NA, you can see it all the time. LATAM, you have a chance, and Oceanic, you have a chance. But China is just it's a very difficult region to see. Yeah. And when they do appear, you've got no idea. You've had no experience with them.
And they've had a lot more time since last year. Don't forget, last year, a lot of what we saw out of the Chinese teams were they would get first blood, or they would start out early, and then the North American and European teams would be like, that was cute, but we actually know how to play the game. And then they'd clean up later. Chinese teams have had a full year plus with the game now, so I think it's a little bit different. And to that, I don't think a Chinese team is going to win Worlds necessarily. I think it's still NAEU's game. But I think that China has the opportunity to really show up and surprise people. But that said, I don't want to switch gears on you, but they're not the team I'm really looking at for being the big surprise.
To be fair, I still
Gaming is who I'm scared of.
Gaming. To be fair, I still remember back when Bush was playing mid out of his mind, and he hadn't got first blooded before, and then he almost got first blooded by Cabrakan mid.
I remember that.
In the first game.
I remember that.
Cabrakan mid, and then it was Snoopy.
Then Snoopy got first blooded. Was it by a Hercules Ares lane?
I think so. I think it was just a man lane.
Oh god.
Man mode.
To be fair, so cheese lane that worked for them up until the point when they had to team fight and they had no hunter.
Yep.
Okay, should we move on to the next thing quickly?
Yes, the Xbox UMG Invitational, 7th of November, the same time as Latin America Regionals. This is Xbox news, by the way, as you will know. Juice, Elevate, Eager, and Release Gaming competing for a Smite World Championship qualifier spot. Just 4 of them competing. It's going to be a good one to watch, I believe. Some of the top Xbox talent out there.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I am super excited about this because I'm not going to pull any punches here. If you guys tuned in to some Xbox stuff that you saw on Twitch, like the Smite games or whatever, you might have been less than enthused about Meditation Mid or whatever else was going on. But when you look at the top of the crop in Xbox, I'm not going to say they're as talented as PC because most of them haven't been playing as long or at the same level, but they're definitely talented enough where watching them is fun. And also you can't forget that the games are largely different because of the control schemes, so you get to see different things in the situation. You get to see, I mean, not that it's popular on PC, but Blink 180 Fearless is at its tiers just aren't possible on Xbox. Characters like Medusa are top tier on Xbox because you just can't turn around, dude. So you get to see a little bit of this meta change. Everything is just a little bit different. It's not you're not going to see completely different games than you would on PC, but you get the opportunity to see different gameplay a little bit. And what I'm most personally excited about, for me personally, is the last time I got to meet a bunch of people that were super passionate about the game of Smite was launch tournament like 2 years ago, right? And every LAN, I love Marcus. I love to see Reels and those guys come over, but it's the same dudes. This weekend I get to see, I know the Juice guys, but I get to meet Juice, Elevate, Eager, Release. I get to hang out with dudes and people that I just haven't ever met, and that's weird for a Smite LAN. So I'm really excited about just seeing all the different personalities come through.
As I promised before, we will be talking about Avant-Garde. Just a fair warning, this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the Oceanic Regionals yet, cover your ears for the next 5 seconds.
5 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever. I would put a sign up, but that's too much effort, and I couldn't be asked to make that for the overlay.
Spoilers, winter is coming, everyone dies.
Okay, spoiler alert, now. Avant-Garde managed to beat Direwolves 3-0, went undefeated throughout their entire qualifying process to the Smite World Championships, and they are going to be the first team to qualify for Worlds, so huge congratulations to them.
Yay!
Huge congratulations. And shouts to Captain Coach, who's going to Worlds, and Titan might not.
Oh.
Here we go.
There you go. Shots have been fired.
That will be, and I'm unbiased. I root for Titan just as much as I root for the other teams. But boy, will it be funny seeing Captain Coach on that stage without Titan. Oh boy.
Oh my god.
That matchup, Avant-Garde and Dire Wolves, that was pretty one-sided for the most part.
It's been pretty one-sided for the whole season.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah. So that's
Avant-Garde and Direwolves, they were scrim partners as well, and in scrims, the matches were even, allegedly.
Yeah.
They still went to Avant-Garde, but they were closer than it looked on stage at the final event.
Yeah, from what I've heard out of theirs, out of the people that have seen their scrims or whatnot, the third game was a lot closer to how their scrims were, where Rick Castle stepped up and was sort of doing things for Dire Wolves. They evened the game up a couple of times, but then eventually Avant-Garde stretched out. That's really what I've heard around the horn, is that they were closer than that. They wasn't supposed to be a 3-0 despite what the season showed, but oh well.
Okay, so that's that spoiler over. And now we move into another spoiler.
As Brazil Regionals, INTZ Esports versus Pain Gaming in the final. INTZ had a clean 3-0 against Keyed Stars, but Pain went 3-2 against Santos Dexterity, so INTZ had a bit of a smoother route into the finals, as it were. I still expect this game to be an absolute barn burner, as Bart would put it.
Yeah, this should be fun. I like INTZ a lot. I'm a little less familiar with Pain Gaming, but I've caught a couple of their games. I watched some of the more recent series, so I think Pain can hold something up. But INTZ is definitely the favorite.
That's pretty much all we can really say about that one, really.
Yeah. I don't think most of us don't really know too much about it.
No.
The thing about INTZ is they made Worlds last year as We Love Bacon. So I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing them again this year. I mean, it's just a feel I have.
To be honest, who
They'll
doesn't
be
like
back.
bacon?
I mean, I'm like partially vegetarian, so
Do you still eat bacon?
no.
What?
Okay, she's off the show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm just going to close her webcam down. There we go.
It's nice
All
knowing
right, so for those of you who are now watching, there's an open slot for the Pantheon Podcast. Please send your applications. on Twitter.
Prerequisite: you must like bacon.
Yeah,
Yes, you
bacon
must
is
like
a
bacon.
requirement.
No vegetarians allowed.
Wow.
Moving on to Challenger, the Week 6 challenges have just gone by. Week 7 is upcoming, and this Week 7 will decide which 4 teams from each region will go into the final round in Week 8. And there's a very special giveaway in Week 8 that you do not want to miss. Make sure you're watching Week 8 of the Challenger Cups on twitch.tv/SmiteGame2. But before we get into exactly the tables, Team Instinct acquired by Torpedo 8 Esports. And I believe Sushi and Lord WizKid did a show match casting for them earlier this
Yeah,
week.
we did. That was Team Torpedo versus Epiphany Bowl, and spoilers, I guess. Epiphany Bowl ended up winning 2-1, and Soul was not a factor in those games. Like, Moex played it in the first game and they lost. Second game, it got picked up by Epiphany Bowl and they lost the second game. So
Yeah. So it's interesting, you know. I really want to see where the top level players go with her. So Super Regionals is definitely going to be super exciting.
I thought you were going to make a really bad pun then for some reason.
Nope. I've stepped away from the bad puns.
What
So
have we got next?
That's the bad puns done.
The Challenger Cup, they've got Week 7 upcoming. Make sure you're watching that to see who exactly is going to make it through. It's 2 groups of 4, first seed, 4th seed, 5th seed, and 8th seed from the open brackets are in Group A. And then 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th are in Group B. Make sure you catch all of that and read up on it at challengercup.info. We're going to be moving on to the Super Regionals. Those are upcoming as well. They're going to be not next week, but the week after. You definitely don't want to miss those. That's going to be deciding who's going to be going to Worlds out of the EU and NA regions, and it's going to be absolutely amazing to see.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's a huge tournament. There's so many teams.
And I believe the top-seeded qualifier from EU and the top-seeded qualifier from NA get a bye in the first round of the Smite World Championships.
Yes.
There's a lot to play for, even after all the people who are going to be going to the Smite World Championships have been decided. It's going to be huge, and for me, it's all going to come down to that third-place wildcard matchup. I'm going to say it's going to be Eager versus Paradigm in that matchup, and I kind of fancy Eager to take it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it should be interesting. You have 4th and 5th seed will wind up being TSM versus Enemy, and then 3rd and 6th seed is Cloud9 versus COG. And then, you know, I think those are closer than most people will anticipate, honestly. And then Wednesday, you've got very similar, you know, the same thing, 4th and 5th seed, which is going to be LC and Titan, and then 3rd and 6th is Paradigm and Dig. So that means Paradigm winds up beating Dig. Yeah, I could see it. I can see Paradigm and Eager. With that said, that's under the mentality that whoever wins out of COG Cloud9 beats Eager. And if COG wins, which is a very realistic possibility, I think Eager takes that series. If Cloud9 wins, which is also a realistic possibility, I don't know how to call that one, honestly. So I think the Eager One has a little bit more under the hood than most people would expect.
I mean, when it was up in the COG Invitational in the midweek break between these full splits, it took them to 5 games between Cloud9 and the Eager to separate them, and it was down to a ban of Naja targeted a dead cat to break it for Cloud9 to win it.
Yeah,
that's how close those teams are.
Yeah, they're very close. Yeah,
Naja boys.
I'm a Naja supporter as well. So
I'm a Naja support. Does that count?
No.
Well, Naja is probably your second favorite god. As we move into our god discussion for this week, we're going to be discussing his favorite god is going to be Chaac. It's a shocking revelation that we're discussing.
Boom chakalaka
on the show.
Hey, you guys should check out this podcast.
Have you two got a list of just Chaac puns now?
Oh no,
I don't. He probably does. I don't.
What? Chuck? I chucked that out ages ago.
Oh my god.
That guy, please. Can we get him off the show?
He's in control of the cameras and the audio. We can't.
we don't care. Get him out.
Get rid of the podcast. One of the hosts. Okay.
See, there's now 2 slots open. You have to have bacon and not make terrible Chaac puns.
Oh dear.
Okay, going on to Chaac discussion. So Chaac recently had a buff, didn't he? He had his slow on his is it Raging Torrent? I think it was called, or whatever his third ability is.
The Rain.
Rainfall.
Is it called the Rain? What's the Raging? I got the name completely wrong.
Torrent is the second one.
Okay, that explains that. So he's had a buff recently on that, hasn't he? It went from it went up to a flat 40% slow. Was that right?
No, what happened was it was from 5 to 20 before it got buffed.
That was it.
Increasing, and then it got increased by 15 on all ranks. So now when it's at max rank, it's at 35% slow, which really hurts.
Yeah, you just can't escape Chaac. He's just coming. You just can't escape him.
Chaac's going for that booty.
He's just a pain. Like, Chaac is such a pain to play against. The slow, it just hurts my soul. It just does.
I think if you build a heavy hammer on him and then you put that slow on him, I'm pretty sure you end up walking backwards.
I've done it a few times. I can attest to that. They do walk backwards.
It's just stupid. Chac's always been decent with the laning phase because his axe does a lot with the wave clear. With Bluestone now, his wave clear is pretty decent. His mid game's not too bad because once you get into them team fights, his Storm Call becomes a massive team fight advantage for you because it stops any sort of retreat from the enemy team in terms of leaps, and then it also stops any initiations from the supports. So I think that Chaac having an extra bit of slow on him is just allowing him to get a few more auto attacks in, which helps out his passive as well.
Yeah, Chaac, realistically, I love Chaac, but realistically, Chaac just doesn't do enough at a high level. Like, Chaac's ultimate is fantastic for objective secure. All right, I'm here. You're silenced for 30 years. Oh, well, we'll take your objective. But outside of that, I mean, and you highlighted it really well, Oz, when the laning phase is Chaac's, right? Like GG, Chaac, GG, Axe, whatever. But the second you sort of leave that laning phase, he'll never do poorly. Shouts to Zelia. But if you take a look, Zelia played the Chaac against lower seeded teams, and then once he brought it out against some of the bigger boys, he got beat. And the reason is Chaac is strong, but there are other options available most of the time. You can be an Osiris, you can be a Sun Wukong. Well, you used to be able to be a Sun Wukong. You can be a Hercules. There are just other options that Chaac is still relevant, but he's not top shelf, which is, when you're playing for tens of thousands of dollars, you want top shelf.
So what sort of items are we going to be building on a Chaac in the laning phase? What do you start out with, and what do you want to be building into as your first 2 items, I'd say? And who do you really want to be playing? Bluestone.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much changed about him. It's just that you grab a Bluestone at the start, and then if you really want to be AIDS, then just go ahead and grab a heavy hammer. But
I generally go. I go Bluestone Red Pot. And I murder someone.
Sushi's reaction to the going AIDS.
We broke his sushi.
She's not on the show next week anyway. It doesn't matter.
I just go Bluestone Red Pot and walk myself to mid lane and just destroy whoever's there. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Chaac mid.
Chaac mid, man.
Chaac mid is the dream.
Hey, Chaac mid never runs out of mana. He's great.
Right?
I still remember when Captain Twig played it.
Yeah.
He was a bit as well.
I'm just saying.
Still working.
Chaac mid's a thing, man.
I'm pretty sure I got my first ranked pentakill with a Chaac mid.
See?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did. I think I actually streamed it as well.
Oh my god.
There you go.
We need proof of that. If you can
I
find
might
can find the VOD of that, we're set.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, I think I might have it. I also have a bit of a digging. We'll see.
Get digging, man. Get digging.
Alright, finally about the God discussion, we're going to talk about the matchups of Chaac. Gods that he does well against, gods that he doesn't really do that well against as well. He doesn't really lose lane that much, so gods he doesn't do bad against is limited at best.
I think he used to be when Song Wukong, before he got nerfed, Chaac was one of the few that could probably, in my opinion, hold his own in lane. And now we're at the stage where Chaac beats Song Wukong because Song Wukong has been nerfed.
Yeah.
Poor Wukong, man.
Chaac matchups that I traditionally see. Chaac beats Isis pretty hard because once she gets rid of her wing gusts, she just gets slowed and basic attack down. And that's the majority of those matchups. You throw your axe, you torrent, the wave is gone, their wave is still there, and then you rain call and you basic attack them down until they die. And they can't get to their tower. And then you have a kill before the junglers leave the jungle. So that's pretty... Isis is probably the toughest because of how quickly she clears a wave. Ra isn't really problematic because he doesn't have any ways to get away from you. And, I mean, really, the only thing that scares a Chaac mid is a Chaac mid. So...
Actually, speaking of that, did you get to play the 5 Chaac versus 5 Chaac Conquest?
I did not get to play it, but I did appreciate. No, I did get to play it. Actually.
Amazing.
I played Chaac mid. Yeah.
It was so amazing because you'd have a Chaac go, "Okay, I'm going to slow you," and the other Chaac goes, "Fine, I'm going to slow you," and it's been Benny Hill music because no one can catch anyone.
Yeah, that was in my honor. I had to have the all Chaac. That was fun.
Oh,
that was such a good
everyone's
mode.
just moving so slowly.
I had so much fun in that mode. It was great. There's something even less because everyone called their role at the beginning of the game. So we had a solo lane Chaac building like a solo laner. We had a mid lane Chaac building like a mid laner. We had a support Chaac building like a support, and then an ADC Chaac, which was me building like an ADC. There's something hilarious about having Transcendence and Assy on a Chaac.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You're just swinging that big axe. Like,
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Little Rain never hurt anybody, or does it?
You move like a jaguar! Ah!
God.
Well, he doesn't because he's slowed down to a fuck.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I think the one matchup that Chaac doesn't traditionally do very well at was one that was the counterpick to him when he was so prevalent before Season 1 even started. That was Bakasura.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a better way of dealing with him now, considering he has got an increased slow, but he still just gets shredded by those Butcher's Blades.
Yeah, realistically, Baka presents a problem. Sobek is not fun to lane against, which is interesting because Chaac has all the wave clear in the world, and that's not a problem, but Sobek can shut down the healing a little bit, and, that becomes a problem. Chonga also is an issue, but you don't really get to see Chonga in the solo lane because she's a mage, so...
Okay.
Yeah. I feel really sad that you can't play mages in the solo lane because, I like playing mages, but
You can play Numa.
You can play Hell.
You can. Now. It's not a hard rule like it used to be. It used to be like, oh, you played a mage word, I'm going to kill you. Totally play mages. You just have to be a little more aware.
Mm-hmm.
Like any healer plus, I'd say, Kronos, Hemo, and Nuwa are pretty safe. You can play other mages in there, but you got to have a specific matchup, I'd say, to be able to play them there. Otherwise, you just get out-poked, out-sustained, and out-killed every single time.
I can tell you now, if your laning opponent is a Hades, don't pick a Freya into it. In solo.
Oh no, pick the Anubis into a Hades, just laser pick him.
Oh my god.
Like, honestly, he ults you, just go, fine, you're standing still, take my laser dick, bitch. And kill him.
Oh my god. Right, I think F-Dot's got only a little bit of time left, so shall we quickly move on to the upcoming, and then go through that as quick as we can, and then get into the Q&A, so everyone gets their questions answered.
Okay, upcoming in Smite, Clash, new map, that's on the PTS right now if you want to go play it. Very weird mode for me. I've been able to play it. I don't think Dark Eye has been able to because he's having problems getting the PTS on his computer.
Me and the PTS have a hate-hate relationship. It just won't install in the folder I want it to.
Nice.
So it's got 2 towers and a Phoenix in 2 lanes, and then a Titan, and your spawn area is quite a way away from your Titan, which is very, very strange. It's got a Fire Giant, a Gold Fury, a central red buff, there's only one on the map, 1 back harpy on each side of the map, or 1 blue buff on each side of the map. It plays like an arena game, but it feels like it should be playing like Conquest. And that's sort of the point of the map. It's meant to help arena players transition into Conquest and vice versa. To be fair, that was kind of what also Siege was introduced for as well, back a year ago. That came into the game as a way for Conquest players to transition into Arena and vice versa. And behold, we have a new map to do the exact same job.
I imagine that Siege grew into something different. I don't know. I keep eyes on Conquest. I'm Mr. Esports, man. I don't really, I don't look at the casual game modes or whatnot, honestly.
I don't know what you...
How dare you, F-Dot? How dare you? I'm an assault main, okay? I'm really offended by you saying you don't care about casual game modes.
I hate ARAM. I hate it with a passion.
Oh, God.
I don't know what you thought about it, AJ, with Clash, but we did say that the gold spooling was a bit high in comparison to the XP gain.
Yeah.
But other than that, it seemed like a really fun game mode. I really digged it, really.
I had great fun with it. Any assassin with high CC, I feel, does well in this game mode.
Oh yeah.
Because there's an opportunity to gank without them really knowing about it, unlike in Arena, which you have to go really far out and miss out on vital gold and experience. And there's also the opportunity to lane and have farm as well. So any high CC semi-globals as well do really well. Yanis is through space and time. You can basically go from one side of the map to the other. There's quite a lot that does well in this game where they wouldn't really suspect. Early game gods, not so much, considering the amount of gold spooling you have. Because you just get items on so quickly. Also coming, Dragon Rider Al Kwong is now available alongside the Kebri and Inuki voice packs. I've already equipped the Inuki one.
The Inuki one is amazing. I love that one. It's so. I honestly think it's better than the other ones because the other ones are vaguely BM. Inuki's one feels better.
F-Dot, when are you getting it?
We broke
no, my feelings were hurt by Bart. Bart called me bad.
Hey, and if Bart's calling you bad, you know you're bad.
It's the
Yeah.
most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I've seen it on the Reddit before. I don't know. I don't buy that crap. Bart's the only one you need is Bart. Bart's the best VP. That's the only one you need. We don't need to release any more.
I do
Bart
actually
wins.
just use Bart.
Except for
It's
me.
hilarious.
I need one. So
Yeah, you need to get F-Dots. Ben will just use it all the time.
Yo, F-Dot, can you ask the people on HiRez so I can get one too? That would be really hype.
that is
Who
exactly
used
what
your
I'm going to
one?
do when I go to work. That's
Yes,
what I'm gonna
thank
do
you.
right
Thank
now.
you.
I got you.
It's a grill. Of course they'd use it. That works, isn't it?
George Foreman?
George Foreman. Just have a sizzle for every single thing. So double kill, pentakill.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh, Hindu.
Moving on to the current god rotation. Of course, you have your 5 standard gods in Guan Yu, Ra, Neith, Ymir, and Thor. But the rotation right now, Odin, Freya, Kumbhakarna, Artemis, and Bastet, so no traditional mages. with an ADC Freya and an ADC Artemis. And high damaging Kumbhakana alongside that Sleeping Giant.
Can I tell you now, anyone who is playing this week, now with this rotation, if you use the Crusher on Bastet, I will find you, and I will end you there and then, because that item is bullshit.
What happened?
Nice.
Well, when I had three things on the solo lane, and we went away and started a fight, and by the time we finished fighting everyone, she'd taken down both towers, the Phoenix, and was busy killing the Titan. It was ridiculous.
Alright.
I hate that item. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, also coming the next Odyssey item, Ragnataskr. And I've got a picture which I'm putting in.
I've already put it in chat. I'm a step ahead.
Damn it, he's beating me to the punch.
Hey, I'm production today. I need to be on the ball.
Alright, absolutely adorable, that skin.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's good.
It's really cute.
It's good.
Yeah, spoiling content. Sue us, HiRez.
That's that.
By the way, before F. Bales, can I ask my question? Since
Yeah,
I get priority when it comes to Q&A.
You do. We've still got a couple things to go through before we get there.
I don't care.
No, just we'll quickly ask the question now. And
Sure. I like have to go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, ask the questions. Go.
Alright.
Speed through them.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
My favorite pizza topping, I'm gonna go with either chicken or buffalo chicken. I'll go with that.
My man.
Yeah, cool.
Alright.
Couple more before you go, Ben.
Sure.
Are you going to cast 3v3 again?
I'm guessing that was Duckbot, Angry Day, or Boxers.
It was Duckbot.
Duckbot.
It was Duckbot. Yeah. How did you guess?
Yeah, I used to cast 3v3 with Kret back in the day on Smite Central, and there was a nice little community built around there. I don't have any plans for casting 3v3.
That's a shame.
But, I mean, I very rarely say no to casting opportunities, so...
You could get us instead, We're better from head start. It's fine. And we've got another question here from Lydia. How was it transitioning from HiRez to HiRez from a streamer or a player?
It was interesting. There's definitely the dynamic in the office it's definitely different from what you're used to. As a content creator at home, I wake up at 3 p.m. and do whatever the hell I want as long as my content's done and I take care of everything. It's a lot different for it's a 9 to 5, so that aspect is very different. But while it's a 9 to 5, the people in the office are awesome. So, and it's pretty much people similar to me or you. And of course, not for nothing, before moving down here, I had contracted for a year with them for the Challenger Cup and other events. And then I was working just out of labor of love, passion for a couple of months before that as well. So I've been involved with HiRez people since 2013. So there was an adjustment, of course, but really it's been more of an adjustment for location rather than anything else.
There we go.
Right.
Okay, so let's get the podcast ended then, as F. needs to disappear. So AJ, would you like to do your thing?
Okay, we did have a couple of things that we could have got through, but unfortunately we are out of time. It's unfortunate that F. had to go. We could have dragged this on for another hour, potentially.
Blame
That would
Adonis.
have been all talking about Chaac, don't worry.
Blame Adonis. That's all his fault. It's all Adonis' fault.
Yeah, hashtag blame Adonis. So we would like to thank Thom F. Manager for coming on the show and being our special guest for this week.
Appreciate it.
You can go follow him at f.ny on Twitter, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, definitely go check him out and make sure you're following him. Huge shout outs there. Also thanks to Sushi for joining us. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @SushiNur. Sushi and Nur. I don't know why I thought about hashtags. I don't know. It was blame Adonis. Hashtag blame Adonis.
Yes, hashtag blame Adonis.
I'll link it in chat.
There you go.
Yeah. We also had Ozboz joining us. Where can they find you, good sir?
Twitter, Ozboz, and same with Twitch. So there you go.
Working production for this week, and only this week, it was Dark Eye.
This week only. You can have it back next week.
Yes, I can. I will take it with open arms. So where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DarkEye3. You can find me on Twitch at DarkEye3, and you can find me on YouTube, DarkEye3 Gaming.
That's where these podcasts are going to be put. If you're there already, hello from the past, I believe it is. And my name's AlphaJackal. You can find me on Twitch right here, AGMB1995. Why don't you give me a follow? Be the 100th follower. Congratulations to me. Woohoo! Self-promotion there. You can also find me on Twitter at AlphaJackal. And that's going to do it for us for this week, week 4. Be sure to join us next week, where the special guest will be announced on Twitter at Pantheon Podcast very soon. Until then, have a good night.